Fear not, citizens, hope has arrived because we are back with more My Hero Academia. Welcome to the Amateur Otaku Podcast, where we talk all things anime and manga. Joining me, as always, is my good friend Isaac Wolf and Leah Rydell. Guys, last week was literally the calm before the storm. This week it's just straight up the storm. It's insane. But first off, I just want to ask, how are you doing, Isaac?
Exhausted as it always, but I'm good.
Well, at least your profile picture is back to normal. You're not that tired. Leo, what's good, man?
What's good, bro? Man, what a chapter. Holy shit. Like I'm getting chills thinking about it, man. Like we're finally about to start and set off a chain of stories until the end. I'm assuming battles are coming. Man, I'm really excited for what's to come. Holy shit. Like I just never thought it would be this quick, I guess.
It was in the tea leaves that it was going to be this fast, but we kind of were just ignoring it when you really look back at the last couple chapters. Like last chapter literally ends with All For One saying, "So it begins," right? Pretty much.
Yep.
So,
and he got the phone camera on. I'm like, damn, they got smartphones in this society. Okay, let's go.
It gets me like Naruto whenever I watch Naruto, and all of a sudden they got like surveillance cameras and computers. It's like, I forget how modern this world is.
look, man, if I see a Naruto character on a computer, I'm going to be confused as hell.
Yeah, that got me every time. Oh, by the way, guys, joining us is a special guest. I think this is your first time at the Amateur Otaku Podcast, Ren. So why don't you tell the people who you are and what you've been up to?
It is my first time. Last week was supposed to be my first time, but thank you for having me. I do movie reviews. I talk some anime as well. I do movie rankings over on YouTube at Ren Geekness. You can find me all around the internet at Ren Geekness. Thank you for having me, guys. And yeah, we're in the end game now. Exciting times as the battle commences for society. For we live in a society.
I kind of feel like it was meant to be that this is the first chapter you join us on because holy crap, just insane. Guys, just so you know, spoilers for My Hero Academia chapter 343. Title is Let You Down. So if you aren't caught up with the My Hero Academia manga, we'll see you in the fall. Come back for the anime or just catch up by next week and join us. Take care. Getting into this one. Getting into this one, we are it starts off with All For One, I believe, and he's kind of telling us about this quirk that we didn't know he had. It's basically like a lie detector quirk, and it apparently was like one of the first generation quirks, and so it was pretty weak, but over time and all the booster quirks he's collected over the years, it's pretty powerful. And they're setting that up because there's a twist coming towards the end of this chapter, which is just crazy to me. He sets up a meeting with Aoyama's parents, and basically they're scheming to deliver Deku to All For One so he can finally get One For All. Izuku does fall into the trap because Aoyama leads him to this. I don't even know what area we are in. It has to be outside of the UA barrier.
Yeah, it looks like a parking lot or something.
Yeah, it's generic space. That's what it is, really.
Yeah. Space that can be destroyed.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just battle arena. It's the final smash, right?
Yeah.
So we've been following, and Leo and Isaac know, we've been following All For One's All Might's plan to stop All For One for like the last 4 or 5 chapters. And we just kept wondering, what is All Might's plan? Because they haven't specified any information. We finally know what the plan is. So the plan is to warp the heroes to All For One using Kurogiri's quirk that Monoma copied. And so I'm just going to talk to you first, Leo. That blew my mind, and it is actually just genius how they pulled that off.
I've been saying for weeks there was going to be a plan behind the plan, and so I was glad to see that I was pretty much right here.
Yeah.
I knew that there was going to be some way to draw out All For One, and I thought this was just such a well way to do it, because I gotta admit, this even had me a little confused. I'm like reading the pages and I'm like, oh shit, Aoyama really didn't like actually go back to the heroes. Oh my god, like even I was tricked. So I think that this was like a nice, simple way to do it, because it's believable. We just figured out that Aoyama was the one who betrayed them. So I think it was such a good way to really play back into something that happened so recently. And it made, I think for me at least, it made me feel like, well, damn, maybe they didn't convince him to go work with them again. So it really worked, and I thought it was effective because of the timing. Like if we had found out Aoyama was the spy maybe right after what happened to Bakugo in the war, or some timing like that, it would have been a little too far behind, I think, behind us for it to trick again. But like that was so well done. And I think it was well done not only by Horikoshi, but by our characters too. So I love this like trick, this game that they played to get and draw out All for One. I'm really curious now that All for One mentions it. I'm like, I want to know some more of these like quote unquote ancient quirks. Like I'm like, all right, what are some of the like more like, I guess I'll say ancient again, some of the more ancient quirks that evolve over time. And I'm really, really trying to explore, and I know they don't have a ton of time, but the quirk evolution theory and things like that. I'm like, yo, I want to know more about how these quirks have evolved over time. But I know they're probably not going to get it that deep in the actual series, maybe a data book or something. But I really like this chapter, and I can't wait for what's to come, man.
Yeah. Isaac, there was a line, and you just need to help me if I'm wrong. There was a line where All for One said, like, the person he stole that quirk from, their descendant, is now helping All Might. Is that supposed to be like Detective Tsukauchi? I'm pretty sure we kind of know what his family's quirks are from vigilantes, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think you're on the spot. I know that some people wonder if has theorized that the one helping the good guys is Deku. Honestly, I've seen some theorizing, and that's why Deku is quote unquote Kirkless. That's some I've seen.
That's an interesting one. We might have to do a theories episode on that one just to break that idea down. Ren, what are your thoughts on like the trap and like the 40 chess that these guys have been playing?
Oh, I loved it because my favorite part is that I did not see it coming whatsoever. And then going back to the recent chapters, the pieces are there for you to make the connection now of last week seeing Aizawa right in front of Kurogiri, and that was the plan all along. And but my favorite part actually is that despite this trap on a trap, is that we don't even see All for One phased at all by this, which is the scariest part of it all. They tricked him. Like this quirk that he was counting so much on didn't work for him, and still he's not phased. He's curious about how it didn't work, how they were able to lie to him, but the fact that he's not even worried about all the heroes being here right now, that's very concerning to me.
I know. That's like Leo mentioned it earlier about how fast things have seemed to pick up in like the last couple of chapters. Isaac, I'm going to toss this one to you right quick. Do you think this is the final battle? Or do you think something's going to go horribly wrong where the heroes are going to have to regroup once again before this thing reaches its conclusion?
I mean, there's two options that I can see here. One is like this, or should I say three? This is going to be an all-out war for the rest of the year. Two, they need to regroup, like you said. Or I could see them doing something like a couple of epilogue chapters down the lines, just to see where people are afterwards. My guess would be a mixture of all three, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's crazy because we have Shigaraki and All for One in the same area. And I feel like that just spells death for everybody. Am I wrong with thinking that? Like, I don't understand how you beat both of them at once. Like, if you split them apart, maybe they have a chance, but I don't know. Star and Stripe couldn't take down Shigaraki. I don't know what they expect to do now that they have them in this situation.
Yeah. I think that this is the, and I'm gonna make another Naruto comparison. So here we
Go
go.
for it.
I think this is the Obito in the Council of Kage's equivalent. Like it's the beginning of the war, the beginning of the end here. And we're gonna see it kind of spread out because you still got to get Dabi versus Shoto in there. Like you still got to get these big moments. So I think it's just the beginning of what's to come.
That makes sense, especially when you look at like this final page here, which is just I love the spread of the villains versus the heroes.
Yeah.
But in that spread, you notice that these are all pro heroes. Not a single student is warping to this location, besides Deku and Aoyama, and I guess the big three.
Is
probably
Sun Eater already a pro?
Since they were third years and time has passed, I assume they might be pros.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
I guess they
you're
didn't
right.
have graduation, so technically not. But yeah, so that's why I'm looking like we have the third years and the pro heroes. There's no class A or class B aside from that glimpse of Monoma using Kurogiri's quirk. So I wonder if there's a phase 2 to their strategy here. Also, like, I'm just happy to see Mitoko with her robotic arms. That's just epic.
Yes, dude. Finally,
I think we called that like 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, we probably talked about it at some point, but I'm just glad to get her back, man. Like she was just such a charismatic, huge force in the ranking of the heroes. Like I was like thinking of heroes who had ended up abandoning society after what happened. But like she was one that was just willing to jump into danger at all cost. So I'm so glad to see her back. And I was just worried that would be another recycled character. So yes, Mirko, but I still got to ask y'all, where is our boy Lemillion at?
Yeah, so we have Nejire, Sun Eater, and Fat Gum. We don't have Lemillion. So maybe he's along with Bakugo or something, leading like that second wave, that second line of defense against the Paranormal Liberation Army. I don't know. Like, we haven't seen Lemillion since that one time he came back. And then in this chapter, All for One, he did mention him and some of the other heroes that were in that fight previously. So I feel like we're going to see Lemillion, Shoto, Bakugo in maybe 2 chapters after we address what's happening right here at this battle line.
Man, you throw in Ida and Kirishima to that lineup. Woof! You got a hell of a force coming in this second wave.
That might, like, because we don't see All Might either. Like, what if he's organizing second line of defense? Like, that's what I would assume is happening. Especially if we're going to drag this out for the rest of the year, where it's just going to be full on Great Ninja War, right?
I'm gonna just need to hear that I am here one more time. Like, even if he's just directing the students.
I think it's going to be all the students of Class 1A say in unison, "We are here," and that's their Avengers Assemble moment, and bringing back the catchphrase of All Might, but making it their own.
Well, if that's the case, I'm going to need Deku to be the one to say it.
Well, if he says, "I am here," yes, I absolutely agree. But I think since the story is about all of them becoming heroes, they're all going to say, "We are here."
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
I mean, it makes sense. We had like 4 chapters in a row called "The Story of How We Became Heroes," right?
Exactly.
So that makes perfect sense, honestly. So
I'm gonna cry.
like,
if that happens, man, I'm gonna cry.
Right? So emotional. Like, what a come around moment that would be.
it's just like this chapter for me just came out of nowhere, and it's so like like they played into our emotions, right? Like I'm with you, Leo, on how I legitimately thought that Aoyama was betraying them because the entire time he's been saying that he couldn't do this and that he wasn't as strong as them. So it was within reason that he would end up betraying them if it kept his family safe. But when he turns around and shoots that naval laser at All For One, which by the way, we haven't even mentioned it, but All For One is rocking a new suit and a new helmet. Like, dude really dressed up because he thought this was the last time he'd have to deal with One For All, which I just thought was hilarious. He brought the drip out. But I just really like how they played into the emotional aspect of Deku and Aoyama's characters and how that kind of built to this storyline that we're seeing right now. And I wanted to ask you guys a question. Why didn't it trigger his like lie detection quirk? What did they do to counteract that? Or are they just that good at lying?
I think someone has the power to negate that, or some. There's got to be an answer. I don't think we're gonna like next chapter. We're gonna find out why that happened.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be quirk related. Somebody worked their magic on a certain quirk that kind of negates the lie detector thing. Or they're gonna find some semantic thing that Aoyama and his parents technically didn't lie and whatever.
That's that Star and
what they
Stripe
said.
BS all over again.
Exactly that.
Oh,
Well,
boy.
let me put. I think it's quite easy. Remember who they introduced in the last page of the previous chapter that he did a Spider-Man homage with,
Shinso.
and what is his Kirk?
Good catch. Good catch. That's right.
Nice.
So like Ren said, they technically spoke the truth without speaking the truth, so to speak, because they were brainwashed. So technically, it neglected that lie detector.
That would be insane.
That's so good. I love that. I hope it's that.
Leo, what are you thinking about?
How mind blowing of an idea that is. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm rolling with that, man. I was like thinking over here that maybe it was just that maybe some sort of Aoyama was actually telling the truth in that moment, and it was enough to catch him off guard. But I like the idea of roping in Shinso's quirk into this, of it being like, yeah, like a brainwash, and it was like, oh yeah, he is telling the truth due to the brainwashing. But yeah, man, like I hope it's another quirk interfering, because I totally just had the thought over here. I'm like, what if he wasn't lying, but like, yeah, he came back. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I would love it to be tied to a quirk.
And it makes sense because the portal thing, the Kurogiri quirk being emulated by Monoma, was clearly Aizawa's plan. And who's Aizawa's protege? It's Shinso.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
So they're warping the League of Villains and all of these Nomu. We like, guys, this is the first time we've had Dabi and Endeavor in the same location in like over a year, just about. What do you think is like? Are they going to break off into a bunch of 1v1s? Is it going to be a free for all? Like, I don't even know where you go from here.
I think you get your 1v1s with the supporting characters, the Nomus, and then you get your one-on-ones when you got the personal blood feuds going on. Quite literally with Dabi and Endeavor. But Shoto's got to be there. Shoto's got to be there somehow if Dabi is there. What I'm curious of, and you brought up that Dabi is there and Shigaraki is there, like when we're talking characters in a story, clearly One For All has all his A-listers right here, or at least his top tier A-listers, most powerful ones. We don't have every A-lister when it comes to the hero side. We have Endeavor, who's number one. We have a ton of great heroes with Gran Orca and Edgeshot and Fat Gum, but we don't have Best Genist, or Hawks, or like you brought up earlier, any of the Class 1 members, or even Lemillion.
They don't even have Ryukyu there, right? And isn't she like
No, yeah,
number 9 or whatever?
exactly.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of breaks down. Especially like you said, you need that confrontation between Dabi and Shoto, and if Shoto's not here, guys, I know a few weeks back we kind of speculated that Endeavor probably bites it. Isaac, do you think that's coming and it's going to lead into Shoto having to take on Dabi?
Yes.
Short and sweet. I appreciate it. Anyone else?
I hope not, because I've grown tired. I addressed this in a recent video I did, and I talked to Leo about it. I've grown tired of recently how every redemption story ends in death. And I want to see someone who's trying to go through a redemption arc not die and having to do the hard work that actually takes to get redemption. So I hope he gets really effed up against Dabi. I hope Dabi kicks his ass all over the place, and Shoto has to be the one that defeats him and finds something of value in the harsh lessons that his dad taught him, and in the harsh lessons that he taught Dabi as well. So I hope he doesn't die, but I can see it happening.
Yeah. What about you, Leo?
Look, man, I'm full on the Endeavor's gonna die train. I think he's gonna bite the dust. I think this is kind of it for him, and I think that we haven't lost any major characters in this series, really, besides what Midnight,
Midnight and Night-Eye.
That's it. I'm like, okay, I think it would be fitting if Endeavor stayed alive, but I'm sorry, I don't think this series is ending with both Endeavor and All Might. I think both of them are on the chopping block for the end of the series. But look, man, I would love to see Dabi, a glimpse of his former self come back, whatever Shoto's got to do. But man, I don't know if Endeavor's going to make it through this. I think he puts his life on the line, and it's Shoto's time to step up.
It's a tough one because, like, I get where Ren's coming from with not wanting to have a redemption arc end in death, but I feel like it makes more sense for Endeavor to die here. When, like, you guys have been pushing All Might, saying All Might's gonna die. I feel like it makes more sense narratively for Endeavor to die and All Might to live. I don't want either of those things to happen, but you know, I feel like I don't know how you handle the Toya situation, right? Like, you can't redeem somebody that far gone. Just like you can't really redeem Shigaraki. But the difference is Shigaraki, deep down, we already see that he does want to be saved. Whereas Toya just wants to destroy everything. He's like full on evil revenge mode.
Well, hold on. Does Shigaraki want to be saved, or does he want to be a hero in his people's eyes?
It was like 6 chapters ago where, like, we see inside his psyche, he's a child. He was saying Midoriya. So I assume
I'm gonna have to go look at that page again. I don't forgot about that.
I'm with Mike. I think he wants to be saved. I think that's what they made it pretty clear, unless there's like a twist to it, and that what we saw in his psyche was a trick and whatever, because he has several quirks, or at least at that point he had several quirks. I don't know, but at that point, at least, what they showed made it pretty clear that he wanted to be saved.
And that's the problem with this all for one Shigaraki thing, is that was the only moment we knew for sure it was Shigaraki. Every time he speaks, I don't know if it's Shigaraki or all for one. So yep. I don't know how to take, like, that time he said he was the hero or whatever, like 2 chapters ago. That could have been all for one talking. I can't tell. But when he was saying Midoriya, that was definitely Shigaraki.
Yeah. That has been my biggest issue with the whole who's who, or they're both in the one body kind of thing to the point where right now when we see the panel of the villains, the spread, and Shigaraki's there, I'm like, oh, okay, so they're separated now. I think the anime is gonna make it so much more clear what is actually going on in that portion of the story.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you, because I have been confused this whole time. I'm like, okay, is it all for one? Is that Shigaraki? Is that Shigaraki for one? Is it Shigaraki all for? I don't know who the heck that is, but yeah, this, you know what, guys? There's one villain missing, and this may or may not be significant, but from that spread,
I swear, if you
no
mentioned Spinner.
There's no Spinner. I'm like, what is Spinner's role in all this?
What is Spinner gonna do?
I'm telling
Stab
y'all,
him,
he
I
might have some
guess.
kind of quirk evolution. Big dinosaur be like Godzilla. I don't know, man. I'm just letting y'all know. He ain't
I
dead.
guess.
He's trying to break out Gigantomachia.
This conversation certainly took a spin.
Isaac, I swear, man. You and your puns. Yeah, but like, yeah, so Spinner, that's interesting. I don't know what they're gonna do with Spinner. He'd probably get destroyed with the heroes that are there right now anyway. So
yeah, man. I mean, look, guys, what if he's got what if All for One gave him another quirk? Or
That's
what if he
possible.
evolves his quirk?
I don't know, because he doesn't like All for One. He's there for Shigaraki. The last time we saw him, the last time he had like the spotlight shown on him was like his inner monologue of I don't care about anything else. I'm here for Shigaraki. Not even like All for One. Yeah, doesn't matter to me and all that. So could we see like a cool twist of Kylo Ren to Snow kind of thing, where Shigaraki has All for One killed and he's the ultimate bad guy? Because that's kind of what I wish we were seeing already.
Yeah, I would like to see that too. Just because I kind of thought All for One was done. I thought that was
Exactly.
like, okay, his saga's over. I thought even when it was like Star and Stripe versus Shigaraki, I was like, okay,
Yes.
the ascension has happened. This is the new central villain of the series, and then All for One is in the next chapter. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
like
I'm with you wanting this to be like Kylo Ren versus Snoke instead of Vader and Palpatine, which is probably what it's kind of going for.
Yeah.
The issue is that, at least unlike Star Wars, we just made it clear that All for One's been the big bad the entire time. Not
Yes.
he comes back and all of a sudden he's puppeting Shigaraki.
Nor does he come back without a reason.
Right. So with that, like, I appreciate that aspect, but I really would have preferred if after that initial war arc, it was just it was the Shigaraki show.
yeah.
I'm with you. Somehow, All for One has returned.
Could you guys have imagined if Shigaraki took down Star Stripe? It was Shigaraki the whole time, and then All for One comes back last minute. That would be a fucking mess. Thank you, Horikoshi, for taking notes and not making the same mistake as Star Wars.
Like when they were like arguing inside his mind when it was Shigaraki's body with All for One inside it, I guess. Like at one point, I was expecting like a kind of personality suppression where Shigaraki completely just takes All for One down, and that's how it is. And we get that.
Tails.
Yeah, exactly. The All for One tails.
So I want to ask you guys, we had this whole monologue from Aoyama before they eventually sprung the trap. What do you guys really think, like, destroying the economy is All for One's plan? Are we buying that, or was that some garbage he was just feeding Aoyama's parents?
He does say the speech was wonderful and he was just wrong in some details. So he can't be too far off. Like I think All for One is one of those nihilistic kind of villains that sees the destruction that we're seeing right now as a short-term problem, but he has a long-term solution.
Yeah, it's just like we never really understood what his plan was, but it's like he wants to destroy, basically reverse Thanos, right? He wants to destroy the world's resources so people depend on him.
Yeah,
which is just like I wasn't expecting that. I don't really know how I feel about it either, but maybe he was wrong in certain aspects, and it makes more sense if we just heard it from All for One himself. I don't know. We went all this time without knowing his plan, and it's just kind of funny to me that we didn't really care either.
Yeah, and I kind of think that wasn't so bad of a plan. Like I was like, oh, okay, so he's tearing the world down and presenting himself as the savior who could build it back up. It sounds All for One-ish to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes sense for the kind of guy he is. It's just not that. It's not something we can understand because we never experienced such a thing, so we cannot properly relate to it or understand what it would be like. So it's not the most compelling thing, which is why I like Shigaraki more. I think All for One is a very imposing figure. He's very frightening, very powerful, and he's clearly got a plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and even more. But because we haven't explored, like Mike said, we don't really know what exactly he wants. So it's hard to connect to him, even as a villain.
Yeah, it fits his businessman aesthetic. I will give him that. Like the suit that he's been wearing the entire time. It's like, oh, it makes sense now. That's what he wants to do. It came at a weird moment in the story where it's like, oh yeah, we have to establish what this guy wants. We know Shigaraki's motivation, probably why he should be the main villain, honestly.
Yeah, like I guess my whole thing too is like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why? Why do you want to do all that? Why?
Yeah, that's my issue.
Point,
it makes sense, but yeah.
Yeah, to Ren's point, that's why Shigaraki is the more compelling villain, really. Because I'm like, okay, All for One, you came out, you told us what you're doing. Okay, I could see it, but why?
True. So I just want to point out, we were just housekeeping a little bit. We were talking about Deku's hero costume last week, right? I just want to point out how kind of dope the patchwork suit is, because he's got the arm braces from Two Heroes. He's got the gloves from Hatsume. He's got the UA outfit, but he's got the shoulder pads from his first hero costume, Gran Torino's cape, and he still has his shoot style boots. I just think that's really cool how every iteration of Deku is represented in this costume. We just need his bunny ears. He doesn't have the bunny ears anymore.
Let's ditch that, dog. We don't need
the
damn bunny
ears. I hate the bunny ears. I don't like it. I don't even like how his color is green for his suit. So I can live with that, but I can't. But I also can live without the bunny ears.
Like I don't even think about it since the manga's in black and white. But yeah, like when you watch the anime, and it's just like, that's a lot of green, dude.
And it's
a little bit.
Yeah. If it was like black with green accents,
yes.
like the lines in his suit were green and the suit was black instead of the other way around, which is the case, I think that would work so much better.
Y'all remember those suits they showed off for the most recent movie for World Heroes Mission and the 5 minutes they got in the movie?
It's the opening scene and that's it. Goodbye. Buy the toys.
I'm like, yo, if Deku's suit looked like that, hey man, I'm here for it. But
that'd be dope.
I like the rabbit ears and the green color. Like, I'm like, it could have been this green, man, and that would have been more dope than what we got. But
yeah, it was mostly black, right, with the green highlights.
Yeah,
exactly. To point, it played way better in color. So hold on, I had something in my notes here that I wanted to mention to you guys. Give me 1 second.
That was well said about Deku's suit, though. I didn't even notice that until you brought it up. I'm like, dang. All right, well detailed, bro.
Hey, that's my job, is to go through all the stuff before we record, so I can pull out all the information here.
So Gran Torino not dead? Like, I mean,
no, just old, like Clint Eastwood.
I've been saying for like a year that he's not dead, and y'all wouldn't believe me.
Yeah. But yeah, suits don't matter too much. It's a gripe I have, but don't matter. Like Todoroki, one of the best characters. I don't care too much for his suit. Like it's just the school uniform, basically.
Pretty
Boring.
much.
Oh, boring suits.
Pretty much. Dang it. I had a note in here, but I seem to have lost it. I can't find it, so we'll just move on.
Fired.
There's a lot of so just a couple more things from that last couple pages. There's a lot of villains, well, a couple villains and a couple heroes that I have never seen before. Do you think that's going to be important at all? Like we're going to get some new characters, or it's just cannon fodder?
I think it's cannon fodder. I think we've probably seen them before, but they're like extras, and they're the guys who escaped from Tartarus. Like the guy right over Dobby, for example. I don't know him from anywhere.
Yeah, that's what he looks like he's from Jujutsu Kaisen. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's true. The heroes, I think I recognize most. I recognize all of them. I think I just don't necessarily know the names. Like the guy a little bit over Nejire and the guy right next to Headshot. I know of it. I know him or her. I didn't even understand what that is, but
The
I know
guy
I've
by
seen him before.
Headshot, I think, is a teacher at UA. I think that's where we know him
That's
from.
it.
But
Yeah,
the person
that's
by
it.
Nejire, I have no idea who that guy is.
No, I know we've seen them before for sure. And the robot as well, right behind even the bunny lady. I don't remember her name for some reason. She was awesome during the war.
Yeah,
Um,
Mirko and Wash.
that's it. And the robot right behind her. We've also seen him before, but I have no clue what his name
Ain't he
is.
like a dryer machine or something?
It's
Ain't he a
Wash.
washing
Something
machine?
Isn't he
like
like the
that.
number
Wash.
6 hero?
Yeah.
It's his time to shine, y'all. I don't know what his power is. He's just a giant washing machine. But if he
Yeah.
takes down Dobby or something, I'm gonna just die laughing.
Laundry hero Wash.
Oh, is that him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
His quirk is clean bubbler.
He got the clean.
It allows him
clean
to create and control soapy water from his body. The stream is strong enough to keep several people in the air.
Okay, so on the villain panel, I don't know anybody to the right of Dobby. No one.
Yeah, no.
I don't know who all them people are. The homeboy with the ponytail. I don't know.
I mean, Toga is there, but apart from her, yeah.
Yep, everybody above her. I'm like, who knows?
That's just a bunch of asses for Mirko to kick in the next chapter.
Which
Exactly.
also brings up the question, okay, so it looks like All For One been kind of assembling people outside of the villain, our main villain group.
Oh yeah, that's why he escaped people. He helped this people escape from Tartarus.
Right. Think about
That's
it.
what I assume,
Stain, Nagant, Overhaul.
Yep. Oh man.
Wouldn't Stain? I think I can see him aligning with the heroes.
Yeah, he already met with All Might, right?
Yeah, exactly. I can see him going against Spinner. That would be nice to see.
Spinner's dead in 5 seconds.
I know, but it's interesting, like the ideologies, because now Spinner is all into Shigaraki, but like his costume and how he started going down this path was because he was inspired by Stain.
That might be the only interesting character beat we can get out of Spinner, if I'm being honest. So that would make sense.
I agree.
But yeah, like guys, any speculation on what might be happening in the future? Because we do this every week, and we get like 40% right. None of us got war next chapter when we were talking last week. So like, anything.
I have nothing because I don't know because like I could name all the things that they can do. I just don't know what they're gonna go do first. Like we could see the all-out brawl, and then for a few, because like all these manga chapters are like 15 pages long, so you could see the all-out brawl, all a mess, all like spread panels that look awesome and like action shots for like 7 pages, and then we start seeing the individual feuds forming up. But we still have to see, like, did both sides really send out all their forces right away? Because I don't think so. So I think next week we're still going to see, like, a card up All for One's sleeve that puts the heroes at a disadvantage. And then we stop things from truly like imploding for a little bit, and they just keep control for a little while.
That seems like the most likely, because this is the first time. I don't know if you guys really realize this, but this is the first time in the entire series that the heroes actually pulled one over on All for One.
It's true.
And
Like-
I didn't even notice it, but like Ren pointed it out earlier, he's not concerned at all. And that's
Right.
a scarier thing than him. I think that's scarier than him even being tricked. I mean, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
it sounds like he knew that was coming and was prepared.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Star and Stripe fight. Like, the Star and Stripe fight is the first time he legitimately lost at something. Like, All Might kept him in check, but he was still like working behind the scenes. Star and Stripe was the first time he actually was defeated and he didn't get what he wanted.
Yeah.
And this is the first time he's been tricked. But
Mhm.
the difference is, like you pointed out, Ren, Star and Stripe, he kind of got flustered a little bit, and he's just all like, damn you, Spectre of One for All, or whatever. And then in this one, there's no reaction, which is the scary part. And it's just like, oh, that can spell trouble. That can spell trouble. But also, like you mentioned earlier, Hawks isn't here. Bestgenus isn't here. All Might isn't here. What are they doing? What is going to be happening on the back end of this? Are they going to get Stain involved with his blood curdle quirk? Are they going to get Lady Nagant involved with her sharpshooting quirk? I feel like there's a lot of phases to this plan and different ways that it can go about within the next few chapters. Isaac, you have any idea what might be coming up, buddy?
Honestly, at this point, I am like Ren. There are so many possibilities, and we might as well do another theory episode at this point if we're going down that rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole. That is a dirty Medico joke.
Also, with the villains, no Nomus.
Right.
So it's kind of like, is that second wave prepared to be the wall and force against the Nomus that will invade? And then if that wall is penetrated, all right, Gigantomachia still alive.
Also, like, isn't Hatsume still preparing to move UA? Like, I'm still expecting that All Might Voltron thing to show back up. That we speculated about. But yeah, like there's only like one Nomu, maybe two Nomus that are in this villain spread. So that could be like, what if he's already launching an attack at UA that we don't know about? That could be something that's coming up. The exciting thing about the series is not knowing what's coming, and that means it's exciting, it's interesting, it's fun speculating, but also like you get hit with a chapter like this one where it's just like, I didn't see that coming, but I'm down. Let's go. Can't wait for next week.
I just hope at this point they don't have an incredible chapter and then next week they have a pause and we have to wait like 2 weeks for the next one. Which would be so annoying.
Is the Paranormal Liberation Front still like technically around? I mean, that's a whole army of people that I don't know if the heroes are prepared to take on.
I'm sure they are, right? Like,
yeah,
we didn't beat them really. Like we took a lot of them to jail during the war, but then we broke out of Tartarus, so I feel like they're all still around somewhere. And the problem with that is that they had so many followers, that army can pop up at any moment. Yeah. And I think that's where some of the kids are, like Class B might have to take on some of the Liberation Front because their quirks aren't as strong as the League of Villains, right? So you can have like Yaoyorozu and Kendo fighting Getten while Shoto fights Dabi, for example. That way, everybody's got something to do, but it's to scale. So the OP characters are fighting the main villains. The heroes are probably stopping Nomu, and then the rest of the class are taking on the Liberation Army.
Boy, oh boy,
Yeah.
dude, with that metal quirk, gonna have to get up in the front of the line because they gonna need some real defense.
Yeah. And let's not forget that the Paranormal Liberation Army also faithful to Shigaraki and not All for One.
You know, for like the last 6 months, we've been saying that Shigaraki was gonna just like take down All for One and become the big bad, and it hasn't happened
We
yet.
still
So
waiting.
series is over, and we're still waiting for that moment to come.
Come on, Ryan Johnson, come write a chapter of the manga for us.
Oh, God.
Ren, to put your fears at ease, there is a chapter in 7 days, according to Visit.
Yeah, that's what I read them too. So as soon as I'm done reading, I'm like, oh, okay, next week, good. If not, I can just keep on reading the Demon Slayer manga.
Oof. Guys, Demon Slayer finale is today, right? Sunday?
Is it the finale? Are they only gonna have 11 episodes?
It's the season finale, yes. Remember that they also reused the Mugen Train saga as part of the
That's
season
true.
too.
That's so stupid.
But that's
Stupid.
how they save money on animation.
Yeah. I mean, and they clearly give us great animation, but it's so dumb, especially because this arc dragged in the manga and it's dragging in the anime. It's good, but it drags.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, was there anything else that you guys wanted to hit before we call this one an episode and come back next week?
No. I'm done here.
I just want to say kind of what we've been saying all along, but I'm just excited because, like Dr. Strange said, we're in the end game now. Like, and I've been on this manga thing from the beginning of My Hero Academia. The anime started, and I got you guys. I got other people I can talk My Hero Academia about, not just the anime but the manga. And it's been a journey. It's been a journey, and I'm very excited. And there's never been like a proper down in quality, a proper dip in quality. Some chapters I like more than others, some characters, some arcs, some battles, but overall this has just been a banger of a show consistently, or of a story consistently, because we're talking about manga.
I'm with you. Like, there are things that annoy me, like the Star and Stripe situation just really like ticked me off. But on the whole, like, think about it, that's like what, 4 chapters out of 300 plus. I can live with that. So I appreciate that as things are ramping up and the pieces are falling in place. I tweeted this like last week, but I think like it's gonna be a heck of an ending with My Hero Academia.
100%.
Yeah,
Leo,
man.
anything else?
I think when he said this year's the last year, I don't know if I believe him, but it very well could be with this chapter. If you told me this was the beginning of the end, I would completely believe you.
I can see it's the end of My Hero Academia, and then we go into My Hero or My Hero Agency, and it's a time skip. They're adults, college or whatever.
You mean the Shippuden of My Hero Academia?
Essentially, yeah.
Oh, so now you're on that train, Mike. Okay.
Well,
It's glad to have
Hero
you all
Pro.
aboard.
If they do it, I would call it My Hero Pro. I think that's the best name to go with.
I've been on the train, but I always had that one caveat of you're gonna have to find a way to depower Deku.
Because 100%.
Think of Fajin is broken already, let alone all the other quirks he's got.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to.
I have an idea though how they could make that work. Just don't do it. Don't do anything else. End the story. That's it.
I mean, that's fair, but then I'm out of My Hero Academia, and I don't want that.
You can always go back and reread the manga and rewatch the show. I'll take that over any show, any follow-up show that it doesn't make too much sense to exist.
Fair. So all good things must come to an end.
Exactly. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
Facts. I guess we're gonna call this one over, guys. I'm gonna just let you guys tell us what you have coming up this week. I'll start with you, Leah. What's happening over at Geekly Goods?
Oh man, we got a good little amount of content coming up on Geekly Goods this week. We got a Cuphead series review and definitely going to be reviewing Uncharted as well. Catching up on Superman and Lois, and then a little video I'm working on about some Marvel characters that maybe you don't want to see in Doctor Strange 2. But guys, if you're new, come on over to Geekly Goods on YouTube. I talk the latest in movies, TV, a little bit of anime in there as well, Marvel and DC. So come join me over there. And if you're on social media platforms, I'm at Leo Rydell GG on all other platforms. Thanks for having me on as usual, guys. It's always good to talk some My Hero Academia and good to see Ren Geekness this morning. So great chatting and can't wait for next week.
Epic. I can't wait to see who you don't want to see in Multiverse of
Let's
Madness.
just say
that's interesting.
One caveat, one little freebie is Iron Fist.
Oh, yeah. We don't talk about Iron Fist. The Bruno of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh man, yeah. We don't talk about Danny Rand, Iron Fist. Nope.
Nope. Ren, what you cooking, man?
First of all, thank you guys for having me. Exciting to talk My Hero Academia, which I never get to do. But you guys can find me over at Ren Geekness on Twitter, on Letterboxd, on YouTube. We got a ton of stuff coming this week. Uncharted already came out in the UK because that's where I'm at. I went to a press screening, so a review is already up for that if you want to check that out. No spoilers, obviously. This week, I'm starting my Batman trilogy review in anticipation for my most anticipated anything of the year coming on March 4th. So this week, I'll be reviewing Batman Begins. Dog, starring and co-directed by Channing Tatum, is releasing, so I'll be watching and reviewing that. And I have a fun ranking video planned for sometime this week. And of course, every week I talk Peacemaker, and we got the finale coming up. So excited to talk about that as well.
Do you really want to taste it? The only intro I don't skip.
Yes.
I skip it each and every time.
I swear, Leo.
Even the My Hero Academia ones get a skip, y'all.
This man.
Ay.
A man after breaking my own heart.
Intro, skip.
Did you skip the Cuphead intro too?
Absolutely.
No spoilers, obviously.
Absolutely. Almost every single episode, I skip that intro.
I don't know if I'm going to be watching that.
Only intro I haven't skipped actively is Animaniacs.
I mean, it changes every episode, so
I mean, yeah, true.
I'll allow it. Isaac, what's happening over here at the Amateur Otaku podcast?
Well, we recently published our episode of Horimiya, a slice of life comedy, should I say slice of life rom-com anime. For even though it isn't published, it was meant for our Valentine's episode because of the schedule. We are doing Demon Slayer, and we are doing Attack on Titans, or we have done Attack on Titans when this one comes up. And we are also doing 2 commentary tracks next week, where we're supposed to do this week, which I'm looking forward to. The Ultimate Teacher and Ninja Resurrection. So that will be a lot of fun. And besides that, well, we have, I don't know what more me and Brandon has planned as an extra, so to speak. It shall be a lot of fun.
Always fun, especially with Demon Slayer and Attack on Titan every single week. Epic stuff going on over here in the world of anime. For me, you can find me at Novice Cinephile on YouTube, Cuphead review. That's probably up by the time you're listening to this. And more Fooly Cooly Progressive. Fooly Cooly Progressive is fantastic. If you guys haven't watched it, definitely recommend checking it out. And of course, here with Attack on Titan and more My Hero Academia, as well as My Hero Academia Vigilantes, which if you haven't read Vigilantes, it's a great book. You should check it out, especially if you enjoy My Hero Academia. So with that, we'll catch you guys next week for chapter 344. Until next time, go beyond. Plus Ultra.